Further have joining me now on the News at 10, Mr. Muda Yusuf, the Director General of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. You're welcome to the News at 10.
Thank you.
Well, the government would say it is doing well with the economy, would say we're doing very well. Look at GDP growth and everything. All the figures are looking okay, but what do you say?
Well, there are positives and there are negatives. We look at the economy from the three major dimensions. We look at the macroeconomic fundamentals. We look at the business environment issues. We look at institutional issues. And we also look at the welfare impact. You know, how well has the people fared over these years.
Could you start from infrastructure? I think we'd like to hear more on that.
Well, infrastructure, I don't think we have done so well. Given the fact that if we look at the business environment, particularly the Global Competitiveness Report, Nigeria ranking is about 120, the latest report by the World Economic Forum. And one of the key negatives that you find there is the infrastructure deficit. And if there is anything that is inhibiting the productivity of this economy today, if there is anything that is inhibiting the performance of the private sector, the capacity to create jobs and alleviate poverty, I think infrastructure is number one. And I remember in 1999 when the then President Obasanjo took over power, one of the things he said were his major goals that he needs to achieve very urgently was to fix power and tackle corruption. At that time, I think we were at about 3,000, 4,000 megawatts. Today, as we speak, we are still almost on the same spot in terms of the impact, in terms of the delivery of power to the people. I acknowledge that there has been some efforts on the part of government, the roadmap, the power sector reform, and so on and so forth. We are waiting to see the impact. But as we speak, infrastructure is still one of the major problems that we have. And it's one of the key issues that is inhibiting the growth and development of the economy today.
I think you're re-echoing what the President said in the presidential media chats, when he said corruption is not even our number one problem anymore.
Well, it may not be number one, but corruption has a way of affecting other things. You know, if you have poor infrastructure, if you look at it holistically, you find a link between the poor infrastructure and corruption. If you look at even social infrastructure, which is very key to the development of human capital, I'm talking now of the schools, the educational sector, the health sector, and so on. There is also a factor of corruption in all of this. You know, but I agree with you, corruption may not be number one, but corruption is also a factor in the infrastructure deficit that we have.
What about our policies? Would you say, I mean, Nigeria does have strong economic policies, but that has been hindered by sustainability.
You see, I think there is an issue with the priority of government. The responsibility of any government anywhere in the world is, one, to provide infrastructure, two, to invest in human capital, three, to build institutions, and four, to ensure the security of lives and property. We need to structure the expenditure of government to focus on all these things. So I have an issue with even the priority of government. Of course, there are issues about sustainability. We used to have the National Development Plan. We had the Rolling Plan. We had the Vision 2020 report. We had the 7-point agenda. Now we have the transformation agenda. You know, if you look at the content of all of these things, they are basically the same thing. But, you know, there is also this ego issue, wanting to distinguish one from the other. So sustainability is an issue.
And that of course, causes abrupts a lot of developmental processes in the country.
Exactly.
Mr. Yusuf, thank you so much for joining us on the News at 10. I'm sorry the discussion is a little brief.